Bruchim haboim. Welcome everyone. We're about to begin Be'ezras Hashem together on Daf Mem Hey Amud Aleph, the very last line on the Amud. The Gemara had previously clarified for us the opinion of Rabbi Shimon, the Shita of Rabbi Shimon, who's Mekil in regards to Muktzah. The question was asked, what happens when a person plants something before Shabbos? Did that yet take root? Is that Muktzah according to Rabbi Shimon? Maybe he only says that which is not Dachya B'yadayim. But that which is Dachya B'yadayim, when something's actively placed aside, in this case planting something before Shabbos, maybe it is Muktzah. To which Rabbi Yochanan explained, no, Rabbi Yochanan says that Rabbi Shimon requires Muktzah only when it's Huktzah L'mitzvosoi. For example, let's say a Ner Shel Shabbos. A person who lit a Ner Shel Shabbos before Shabbos, that is now Huktzah L'mitzvoso and Huktzah L'Isuroi. Because once it's Muktzah for the mitzvah of Ner Shabbos, then it remains Muktzah until it goes out, whereby only afterwards he can get benefit from the oil and it's not considered a Muktzah any longer. The Gemara further explained that according to Rabbi Shimon, says Shmuel, only Grogris Vitzimukin is Muktzah. In other words, that which it was Dachia B'yadayim, he actively put the grapes and the figs up on the top of the roof in order to dry. And meanwhile, while it's going through the process, it becomes something that's inedible. So it has two aspects. One, that he actively put aside, and number two, is something that is not usable. Then it's going to be considered a muktzah. Says the Gemara, Boy mine Rabbi Shimon bar Rebbe me Rebbe. Rabbi Shimon asked his father, Rebbe, the following question. This is Rabbi Shimon, not Bar Yochai, but Rabbi Shimon, the son of Rebbe. He asked his father, Rebbe, Patzile tomorrow, le Rabbi Shimon Mao. What is Shitas Rabbi Shimon in regards to unripened figs? They used to take the figs that are not ripe and they would put it into a basket so that over the course of the time it'll become ripened. But in the meanwhile, it's not really good to eat. A person can eat it, but only bedoichak. Says the Gemara Molei, Rabbi responded, Ein muktzah l'Rabbi Shimon, ela groigrois v'tzimukin bilvad. Only when you have these two aspects, again, one, that is Dachya B'yadayim, he puts it aside, and number two, actively, and number two, it's not usable in the interim. Then it is muktzah. But everything else is not. Now the Gemara is assuming now that Rebbe, who answered his son's question, is also of the same shita as Rabbi Shimon. Because he answered, Rabbi Shimon only holds that there's only grogers and simukin that are muktzah, and everything else is not, then also pietzile tmora is not muktzah. Ask the Gemara, if Rebbe lesle muktzah, Rebbe does not hold of muktzah like Rabbi Yehuda, but rather like the shita of Rabbi Shimon. Vehatnan, behold, it says in the following Mishnah, Ein mashkin v'shoichetin es hamidbariyos. You're not allowed to give water to the cattle, which was what they used to do before they would shecht the cattle. You can't give it water and then shecht it if it's considered to be a cattle that is midbariyos. Midbariyos are those who wander around and they eat and spend their time outside. Aval mashkin v'shoichetin es habaisos. But you can water and shecht those animals that are domestic. In other words, they stay local. Vitanya, so that would be the shita of muktzah, classical muktzah like Rabbi Yehuda. Vitanya, the Bryson then adds, Eilu hein midbarios, defining what is midbarios. What are these types of cattle that are going far out? Kol sheyoitz ois ba'pesach v'nichnosas b'revia. They leave during the Pesach time in Nisan, and they return b'revia in Cheshvan, time of the rain. Baisois, on the other hand, those that are domestic, those are defined as kol sheyoitzois v'royois chutz litchum ubos velonus b'toichat tchum. They don't go so far out to graze because they come back and they even sleep within the tchum. Rebbe oimer elu ve'elu baisois hein. Rebbe says that these and those are baisois, meaning even the way you just described before midbarios, that also is baisos and are able to then be mashkin and shoichtin to be shechted on yontif. they're not muktzah. However, ve'elu hein midbarios. What is defining midbarios? That cannot be shechted on Yom Tif. Kol sheroyos be'afar ve'ein minchasas liyishuv. Those who are grazing in the pastures and they don't enter the yishuv, lo b'yemos hachama v'lo b'yos shomi, not during the summer season, not during the rainy season. So you see over here clearly that Rebbe indeed ascribes to the opinion of muktzah. Answers the Gemara, 3 different types of terutzim, 3 different answers. Ibois ema, if you want, you can say hani nami kegroigris vitzimukin dami. This is also like the definition of Rabbi Shimon in groigris vitzimukin, and therefore you can say that he holds like Rabbi Shimon, but over here it's like groigris vitzimukin, because it has both aspects. One is dachia biyadayim, in that he lets them out to graze far off, but even secondly, the second requirement is also present, that over here it would be a big hassle, a big tircha to go ahead and get this cattle back. So therefore, it's something that's not going to be in use. Ibois ema, alternatively, ledvar of the Rabbi Shimon ka'amarlu, he was speak lay, v'lei lo sviro lay. When he answered his son Rabbi Shimon, he was saying in the sheet of Rabbi Shimon that only grogos and simukin are going to be muktzah, but everything else, including patzile tomorrow, are not muktzah. However, he himself, Rebbe, does not ascribe to that opinion of Rabbi Shimon. A third mahalich, v'ibois emo lidivreihem de Rabbanon kamarlu. He was speaking in the words of the Rabbanon as follows: Lididi lesli muktzah klal. According to me, I go like Rabbi Shimon that there's no muktzah at all. Lididchu, but according to you, who do say muktzah, odu li, you should agree with me, mi has nonetheless, dehecha diyoitzos bepesach v'nichnases berevia, devaisos ninhu, that if they go out on Pesach and they return during the rainy season, then it's considered to be baisos, and you can be mashkin ushoichtin osam. They're not muktzah. But they responded back to him, lo midbarios ninhu, they are considered to be midbarios and they're muktzah. Omar Rabbi Barachan, Rabbi Yochanan, the Gemara wants to clarify Rabbi Yochanan's opinion in regards to muktzah. Does he hold like Rabbi Shimon or like Rabbi Yehuda? So Rabbi Barachan said to Rabbi Yochanan, Amru halacha Rabbi Shimon. They said, those in the Beis HaMedrash, they said that the sheet of Rabbi Yochanan is Rabbi Shimon, and therefore he doesn't hold a muktzah. Umi am Rabbi Yochanan hachi. And does Rabbi Yochanan say this? Ask the Gemara that he holds like Rabbi Shimon. V'ho boy minei hahusaba kruya v'amelei sruya. Rabbi Yochanan, one of the elders of Kruya, some say the elders of Sruya, they asked Rabbi Yochanan the following question: Kina shel tarnegolis mahu. The kina, the nest of the hen, what is its status on Shabbos? Litil tulei b'Shabbos, can one move it on Shabbos, or is it muktzah? Omalei, Rabbi Yochanan responded, Klum asui elul tarnegolim. Is there any other usage for this nest other than tarnegolim? Whereby the implication is that of course it's muktzah, you cannot move it. Answers the Gemara, Nohocha b'mayaskinon, the isbei efroyach meis. You're talking about that when he said, is there any other usage than for Tarnagolim, it's because there's an Efrach mace inside. And therefore, since it's made for Tarnagolim, and this is an Efrach mace whereby it's going to be a basis for this mace, certainly it's going to be Muktzah. So Gemara says, Hanich lemar bar ameimar mishmei derav, the omar moide hayrabi shimin mibalei chaim shemesu sha'asurin. This is very good. This will go fine according to our Meimar Mishmei Derav, who says that Rabbi Yochanan is Rabbi Shimon is moide in Balei Chaim that are alive that die on Shabbos. They're muktzah. Since they were alive before Shabbos, they were healthy, then they're muktzah if they die on Shabbos. It's only if they were sick before Shabbos, then Rabbi Shimon says that they're not muktzah. Elamar bered Rabbi Yosef Mishmei Derava Damar Chaluk Haya Rabbi Shimon. But according to the other opinion, the opinion of Rav Yosef, who says the name Rabbi Shimon, that indeed, Rabbi Shimon says even that Balei Chayim who die on Shabbos are not considered to be muktzah, what are you going to say? How can you answer me that Efroyach Meis is considered to be the reason why he said that it's muktzah? According to Rabbi Yochanan, that's not muktzah in the sheet of Rabbi Shimon. Now the reason why this is different than other places that we saw, that Rabbi Shimon says sometimes it is muktzah. For example, let's say like a large lantern, where you put a lot of fuel into the lantern. So Rabbi Shimon says that even if it goes out on Shabbos, is still considered to be muktzah. Here, there's a difference. Here, when it comes to the Balei Chayim, the Balei Chayim wasn't actively put aside, and therefore, though it was healthy, if it died on Shabbos, is no longer muktzah. But according to the opinion of Rabbi Shimon, if you put a large amount of fuel in a lantern, then you actively put it aside. So even though it goes out on Shabbos, it still remains muktzah. So Al Kapanim, the Gemara is asking, so how can you tell me that indeed that this is considered to be muktzah? According to this shita, it's not muktzah in the name of Rabbi Shimon. Answers the Gemara, that there is a beitza that was noilad on Shabbos, and therefore here it's muktzah because it was a new entity that came about on Shabbos. Ask the Gemara, the one who holds of muktzah holds of noilad. That's Rabbi Yehuda. The man the lesle muktzah, lesle noilad. But those that doesn't hold of muktzah, namely Rabbi Shimon, doesn't hold of noilad either. So therefore, it's not muktzah. It's not an answer. Answers the Gemara, the isbe beitzas efroyach. We're talking about a regular beitza that can be eaten by a human being or even an animal. Here we're talking about a beitzas efroyach. And a beitzas efroyach is not going to be able to be consumed by a person. And even an animal like a dog cannot break its klipa, its shell, and therefore it's also going to be off limits. Even according to Rabbi Shimon would be muktzah. Says the Gemara, to clarify the opinion of Rabbi Yochanan, does he hold like the shita of Rabbi Shimon or not? Ki yosser Rabbi Yitzchak, Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Yochanan halacha ke Rabbi Yehuda. Here, Rabbi Yitzchak bar Yosef says in the name of Rabbi Yochanan that Rabbi Yochanan holds like Rabbi Yehuda in regards to muktzah. Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi Omar halacha ke Rabbi Shimon. Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi argues and he says the halacha is like Rabbi Shimon. That in regards that he holds that Rabbi Yochanan holds like Rabbi Shimon. Omar Rav Yosef Hainu da Omar Rabbi bar Chana. That is what we saw earlier. Then Rabbi bar Chana, when we began the sugya earlier, so he said, Omar Rabbi Yochanan, Omru, halach Rabbi Shimon, Omru. He said, name Rabbi Yochanan, and they said, meaning the Talmidim and the Beis HaMedrash said, like Rabbi Yochanan, that the Shita is like Rabbi Shimon. However, V'lei lo svirolei, but indeed, Rabbi Yochanan doesn't hold like Rabbi Shimon, he holds like Rabbi Yehuda.